Good morning, everyone. Hi, my name is Sumit. I'm from Orox Solutions. Quick background, Orox has been working in the space of sales performance management for last 10 years. Over last 10 years, we have worked globally with organizations across different industries. I personally come with an experience of 17 years, out of which I've spent 10 years in implementing incentive solutions. In last 5 to 7 years, I've been focusing a lot of my efforts on being an SME, working with organizations closely to help them redo their incentive plans, choose the right solution, and how to go about it with the implementation part. With us, we have got Bettina. Bettina, if you could just quickly introduce yourself.
Sure. Hello everyone. Thank you for having me. My name is Bettina. I live in the UK. I'm now running my own business in sales compensation advice. I have 20 years of experience in sales compensation. I used to work for companies like Microsoft, HP, or Fiserv. And now I'm doing my own consultancy business advising companies in anything sales compensation, revenue growth related topics.
Great. Thanks, Bettina. The purpose of this meeting is over last couple of quarters, Bettina and I have been interacting a lot. And one thing that we have noticed is, and Bettina, you please feel free to step in at any point of time, is that in last 2 years and precisely in last three and a half years, at least the post-pandemic period, organizations have been struggling when it comes to understanding what and when is the right time to choose the right incentive strategy. They may have a strategy in place, but they're not sure about what are those triggers, what are those key points to take a look at and take a decision whether they want to move on and put together a new strategy. Now, with that context, we're going to speak today about the incentive overhaul. How do we navigate through the entire transition from an old strategy to a new strategy? Which brings me to my first question, Bettina. What are those triggers? What are those points that a sales operations leader or let's say a finance leader, a sales leader, or for someone from the organizational leadership, what are those points that they need to keep an eye on and identify that now is the time for me to start looking into phasing out the old strategy and rolling out a new one?
Yeah. As you mentioned, after the pandemic, the world became very different to before the pandemic. Now everything goes faster. Digitalization before the pandemic was really going slow in many countries, and it's now really going fast in many countries because this is what has been pushed during the pandemic. And also other things have changed. Your market has changed, your client have changed. What you need to really do is you need to do a 5-step process. You need to analyze the current state, so what works and what not work. Then you need to do proper planning, project management, the whole thing. Then you need to do the implementation. So what solution do you want to have? How do you want to go with it? Then onboarding and hypercare. So it is very important that everyone that is touching your sales compensation, even slightly, knows about your process, your strategy, and why are you doing certain things. And then you need to monitor the whole thing from A to Z. You need to monitor during the implementation or during the transition phase, and also afterwards, regular monitoring the process and the progress is very important for the success.
Got it. So 5 steps. Let's dive deeper into all of these 5 steps one by one. So you started with current state analysis. In my experience, what I have seen is that people are usually afraid of messing up more than missing out. How do you work with these people to understand or make them understand that it's fine? You may mess up, but it is a part of the process. Messing up is not an issue, but if you mess up, that is not an issue either. We can cover it. A major reservation that I have seen in my conversations with stakeholders is that if they implement something that doesn't work, Their job is at stake. How do we work with these organizations, with these people, to help them overcome this entire thing?
I'd say it's better to mess up once rather than keep continuing doing the wrong thing. So if you don't look at your current state and try to improve what you are doing, then you continue to do it the wrong and non-efficient way. So if you mess it up, you can always correct this because you already started on the improved way. You don't want to continue what you do wrong in the past. So if I compare this to the car, you have a car that is very old and it's reliable sort of, but it spends now more and more time in the garage getting repaired. That's with your old process. So it might be still running and you think, oh, it's still comfortable, I like my car, but it will not adjust with the new way of doing things, with new work, with new processes, with new procedures, with new governmental regulations. So you really need to make sure that you are on par with your sales compensation design, which links into your go-to-market strategy, which links into your revenue growth, which links into your company and customer and employee success.
Got it. So just to align this with the sales comp world, at least with the conversation that I have had, what I have realized is at a macro level, you look at the entire sales comp or incentive comp as a big program, as a big process. And whenever there is an issue, we feel that the entire process of the entire program is at fault. But if you dive deeper into it and you kind of try and break it out, you can break it out into three major blocks. One is, first is your data part. A lot of today's issues are also attributed to bad data. The second one is the complexity of your incentive rules.
Yeah.
The third one is reporting. How do you report the calculated incentives? How do you show them to salespeople? Because at the end of the day, with no visibility for salespeople, the sales comp process is of no use. So these are the three things that I have seen. And to your point about doing a current state analysis, I believe that organizations should sit and look into these three aspects of the incentive program.
Yes.
By identify what are the strengths and weaknesses and what are the issues in these three, which are the ones that are working, which are the ones that are not working, and then take a decision whether you want to fix the entire process in entirety, or do you want to pick one of them piece by piece, fix it, and then keep on moving.
So the main issue here is that a lot of companies don't have an analyst that do their analysis for them. So they have someone either in HR or finance run a few reports and go with it. So you need to have someone that can make a report meaningful. So you really should invest in hiring a proper analyst that can take the data and make it into something that means something for the finance people, for your leadership, for your sales people. So a proper analyst can take your data and turn it into something meaningful. That's the word that is important here. You don't just look at numbers. You want to look into like deep dive analytics.
Okay. So a question, do you really need to hire an analyst? Because what you just said is something that obviously is very important. But as a part of current state analysis, when you want to take a decision on how do you want to move ahead, do you think it is right to hire an incentive compensation consultant? Would this be the right time, or do you think a compensation expert should come in later into the picture or early into the picture?
Well, now, so that if you use technology, there are multiple ways to download or run reports in your technology. You still want to make sure that you run the right reports. Yeah. So, and I would say an analyst is a good step.
A good one. Okay, great. So you need to have an analyst. You have your key people in the picture. And is now for where you kind of have done your current state analysis and you move to the next part, which is the planning part.
Yeah.
If you could just speak a bit about how do we go about planning the entire implementation of new strategy.
Well, with the planning, it is important to have the right group on the table. So that's not only sales ops or rev ops, that's also HR, finance, and everyone. Basically, you want to touch base with some lawyers to see if there are any labor laws or change in countries where you're operating in, and you want to really have everyone on the table to they might not be sitting at the table for the entire time, but you at least want to touch base with them. And one of the most important things is you need executive buy-in, because you run into things like, in finance, this project is now more important than your sales compensation project. No. You need to rein them in with your executive buy-in to make sure that everyone is paying attention through the entire planning process. When you do your planning process, you need to set expectations right about timing, about effort, about time that everyone needs to put in, and make everyone agree, yes, this is like a solid, proper plan to transition from old to new. And also everyone should understand why you want to transition from old to new. So what is the required outcome after you have transitioned?
Got it. Brilliant. So I'll pick on one point out of what you spoke about. One, everyone needs to be in sync. No doubt about it. Two, everyone needs to be aware exactly what is the outcome that you're looking for. An example that I can speak of is in one of my recent implementations that I was part of. It was a global implementation across 17 countries. And a significant part of the incentive plan was was to be rolled out to the countries that follow works council laws. While everyone was on board with the implementation plan and even the works council people, but the implementation in itself was complex. The reason is labor laws over there differ as compared to other countries. And on similar lines, even data differs based on what country you're working in, the way it is managed. You're being part of, let's say, a bigger organization, you may have a centralized repository, an ERP with a unified structure. But if you have gone through mergers and acquisitions, you're going to have one common plan rolled out to a set of people. A part of those people are using a different system to record their sales, while a part of other sales team is recording their sales in a different format. That is where getting all of these people together, understanding the nuances when it comes to data, when it comes to local laws, when it comes to complexity, all of these need to be kind of put together, have everyone together, have everyone's buy, and then move ahead and plan.
Yeah.
As a part of your planning, as you said, I'm just going to quickly summarize. Once you have everyone's buy-in and you're showing them exactly what is the output, what is the benefit of this, do you feel that we also need to have a transition plan in place for all the changes that have been made and are impacting three critical elements of an organization? And for me, those are usually process, people, and technology.
Yes.
Either all of them are going to be touched, or one of them, or two out of these three are going to be touched.
Well, yeah, they are all important. Yeah, so the process is super important because it needs to have a proper workflow. So there should not be any roadblockers. So if you have come to a roadblock, you need to make sure that you identify it before you get to it. People are super important because people are, number one, doing everything and are impacted by it. So you need to make sure that you communicate to your sales people and everyone what you're doing, why you're doing it, and what their benefit will be after you're doing it.
Yeah.
Many people are not good with change, so you need to have also a proper change management in place that gives people the comfort of, okay, this is a change, but this is a change that leads into like a butterfly. Yeah, so it's not the ugly worm, it's the butterfly that we have at the end of it. So that's important. And technology, of course, not all technology works in every company. You need to do a proper analysis on what technology. And I worked for a company, worked with a company that had 3 different instances of Salesforce operating, even in one country. Yeah, so that is really very, very hard then to combine this into one SPM tool, for example. Yeah, so let's do that first. Yeah, so just make them work on one instance of Salesforce and then do the other thing. Yeah, so also with the technology, you might have a transition plan to like do an inventory of what you're using, what you're having, and how you can make what you mentioned earlier, the complexity, make it less complex. Yeah, so that's a very important thing, that you don't start with step 4, start with step 1. Yeah, so there.
Got it. Perfect. So in essence, what we are saying is that almost every element of the organization, people, process, and technology, at some point of time, if not together at the same time, if not at the same time, discretely, they are going to be impacted. So we need to have timelines fleshed out in a way that everyone is aware at what point of time, what piece is going to be touched. How are they going to be needed at that point of time as a part of this entire transition? Do you have any sort of examples around this in terms of implementation that you may have recently done, or out of experience? How did you go about it, and how did you see success at the end? And in the process, were there any failures? Or failures is not the right word, but any obstacles wherein there were apprehensions, and you had to consult those individuals and get them on board.
Yeah, so there are plenty of those. So we went through a proper global implementation, and one of the main stakeholders resigned.
Oh
yeah, oopsie. So now how I work is that I have a second man in command, or wife, or a woman in command. So like a second person in command when one person is not there anymore, that I have like someone that I can transition to right away. Yeah, so because when that main holder left the project, that was not good. That delayed us for a good amount of time. So we didn't stop the project, obviously. Yeah, so no one is that important, but we had a proper delay to find the replacement for that stakeholder, because he was not rehired right away. Yeah, so even
But pretty interesting. I had a similar conversation with someone early this week who was involved as a part of the implementation. So one interesting thing that she spoke about is that as a part of this entire process of redoing the incentive strategy, they had to redo the plans. They also had to redo the tool that they were using. So almost everything was working fine. The only problem here was that the person I was speaking with was not a part of this entire conversation. The reason is this entire conversation happened with someone who was already handling all of these things, and then the person left, and then the other person I am referring to joined. So she needed enough time to comprehend exactly what's happening, which means that there was definitely going to be some sort of delay. And my question to her was that, okay, you needed some time to comprehend all of this. The redoing of the strategy, which includes a new plan, a new tool, onboarding sales people. You do not have any existing rapport with those sales people. How did you handle it? Her response was that, Sumit, one thing that we need to do is, as a part of implementation, we need to have timelines, all of them laid out, and we also need to be cognizant of the fact that while we want to hit all of those timelines, we need to be agile in a way that you need to have those steer committee meetings wherein you have the organization leadership in the call, if not every week, and I think that's too high, at least once in every 2 to 3 weeks, so that they're aware of how things are moving. You need to have another cadence which is at the project leadership level. these people meet week over week. And then you have got this team that executes who meet almost every single day.
Yeah.
Need to have this cadence. Information needs to flow bottom to up. And that is where she said the success that she kind of tasted was because of a very good cadence that she managed to put together. She always kept her organization's leadership updated with how things were moving. She was very transparent that there are certain delays that are happening. And because she was continuously telling the leadership was fine. And eventually, instead of going live in 2.5 to 3 months that they had initially planned for, they needed additional 2 to 3 weeks. But all of these was already foreseen that this is the way it is going, it will take another 2 to 3 weeks. All the stakeholders were already communicated about this.
Yeah. There's no benefit in trying to please your executives and set timelines too tight. Yeah, so you want to be realistic, and if something takes 3 weeks, it takes 3 weeks. Yeah, you can't cut it into 2 weeks. Yeah, so it's just not happening. So if you are transparent with your planning, and I always recommend to use something like RACI or anything else where you identify exactly what is your role in this transition. So you're just informed, or you need to actively participate. And if you set bi-weekly meetings with people, which is important, and someone is not showing up regularly, you need to hold them responsible. Yeah, so you need to make sure that the person that is not showing up understands what it has as an impact to the overall transition. Yeah, so you can't let that go. Yeah, so when I worked for Microsoft, I had a global cloud project. You know, I'm sitting in London, and the majority of people on the project are sitting in the US. Yeah, so I need to make sure that they are understanding that lady sitting in the UK. No, this is a global thing. Yeah, so it doesn't matter where I sit. Yeah, so this is a global important project, and you play an important part of it. So what your client is doing very right. Also, have also the communication lines open with the leadership, so they need to buy into the project and have them sitting comfortable and reporting back to them. This is where we stand. That's very good.
Got it. So that basically speaks about the importance of project management as a part of implementation. Now that we have spoken about the first 3 steps, analyze, plan, implement, the next 2 steps, onboarding and hypercare, followed by monitoring the entire rollout. If you could just throw some light on these 2 steps one by one, it would be great.
Yeah, so onboarding is super important, which means you need to train everyone. You need to communicate with everyone. If you don't tell people what you want them to do, then they will do what they believe is the right thing to do, which is normally not the right thing. So communication and training gives people confidence, because now they understand what they are doing and why they are doing it. So, and it is, yes, it costs time, and some people get it faster than other people, but totally fine. You need to just spend the time and do the proper training. And you might want to do it for salespeople. I used to like to group them in what they are paid on. Yeah. So, and so you can do it by geography. You can do it by language. You can do it by whatever you want. Yeah. So, and with some groups, it's best when they are together, because they can bounce off questions with each other, and it become an interactive training sessions. With communication, also it can be via a call. You can do some few slides in PowerPoint, and you might want to also use different ways of communication, like verbal, visual. Do a little video if you want, so then that people get it really, yeah. So they understand, because sometimes people look at a video and it's they forgot it within seconds, or they read the first line and the last line of your email. Yeah. So, but not the middle part. So give them a chance to really get it. Yeah. Because it's an important message. You just spent money, time, and resources on something that is important for the overall company's success by transitioning from old to new. Want everyone to move them along to your end state where everyone should be happy and the transition is a success.
Especially in today's world, we are now kind of working with the age of like the millennial people, right? Very short on attention.
Right.
They don't have enough time to sit and go through all the documents. We come from those days when we used to create user guides, etc.
Well,
Until last few years, we had these three models of onboarding and training: on-site, off-site, and online. On-site was basically going there to the client side, training the users, the sales people. Online was doing online sessions like the way we are doing right now, a Zoom call, or back then we used to do Skype calls, or Team wasn't that used at that point of time. And then you got the offsite wherein you have the user guides, etc., and presentations. And now there is this fourth way of training, which is technically offsite, but it is different. Now we have started doing 20-second, 30-second, 45-second small videos like those TikTok reels of every single functionality or the feature that you have, so that people who are struggling to understand the solution or even the plan for that matter, they can just pick that specific part, search that video, go through it, understand in 30 seconds or 45 seconds. So from those days of doing like these 1 hour, 2 hour, 3 hour long videos and user guides, things have evolved. Now we are in the age of doing TikTok reels for training.
You need to be more interactive, yeah. So also you're now training millennials or even younger people. So when I nowadays go to events, the CEOs are in their 20s or 30s, yeah. You need to make sure that you are addressing the way they used to learn, yeah. So nowadays, if you implement technology, all of it has an app going with it, yeah. So you just need to adjust, and therefore it is important to transition in the first place, yeah. So because everything is now different, yeah. So everything is now fast paced. So I mean, everyone is on Insta and Snapfish and TikTok and these kind of things. What you mentioned, yeah. So it's not death by PowerPoint anymore. It's now really get it, yeah. So
yes, absolutely. And not only that, as in just to add to what you say, we used to tell facts, people used to understand. Now things have changed. Facts are just for telling, but if you're ready to sell something, it has to be a story.
Yeah, but a short
one in 30, 35, 40 seconds. Yeah. Brilliant. So that kind of covers the onboarding part and the hypercare, wherein you are supporting the users. The last part of this entire revamp of or rehaul of your incentive strategy, monitoring and post-implementation analysis. Your thoughts on this? How do you go about this?
Yeah, so this is one of the most, all of the points are important, but monitoring it is, you can't just sit back and say like, done now, move on. So I'm sure you will come into situations where you need to fine tune certain things, or you did certain steps during the transitioning that you find are not perfect. Monitoring and doing ongoing analytics and also speak with the stakeholders, with the users, is important to then do some fine tuning, some adjustments, and keep up to date. So the world is not stopping there after your transitions is completely successfully done. The world still moves on, yeah, in the fast pace. So you need to make absolutely sure that while you're doing the monitoring, you also are agile and willing and prepared to do adjustments and adapt to the new world, basically.
Goes back to what you were speaking about as a part of the current state analysis, that you onboard the people, the stakeholders, let them know that this is important. But don't worry, if there is something that we miss or something that comes up afresh, we are open to accommodate that leader.
Yeah.
Yes. So one more thing that I would also want to add as a part of monitoring is by stakeholders from different functions. We need to, an organization needs to identify the right set of parameters or metrics and monitor those metrics, so that every stakeholder from different function, when he looks at those metrics, he understands whether things are moving in the right direction, at the right speed, and also the efficacy of the overall implementation, at least from his state or her standpoint. So just to summarize, as a part of monitoring, one, you need to have a monitoring process in place, and that process may be a long-term process which can be handled over, let's say, day-to-day calls, or you may also want to bring in a solution in place. As an example, you may also want to, let's say, you've got a plan that needs to be approved by the leadership, or incentive plan that has quota that needs to be acknowledged by the salesperson himself. You roll out a tool, an incentive solution with an acknowledgement functionality is a good way of not only rolling out the entire change, but also getting it acknowledged, audited, and then later on, basically take a look at exactly how things went, monitor the behavior of people. Are they acknowledging on time? Are they acknowledging just towards the end of the deadline? So that tells a lot about people's behavior. We can read into it, we can analyze, go back to the leadership, and then work on a solution for it.
Yeah. Yes.
Great.
For this, by carefully managing the transition process and continuously improving the incentive structure, organizations can maximize the impact on sales performance and overall business success.
Yeah, great. Bettina, great. Thanks a lot. This was a highly insightful discussion. I just want to quickly summarize this. So for any organization out there who is looking at overhauling the entire incentive strategy that they have in place right now, here are the key things that you may want to keep in mind. First thing, the easiest decision is often no decision. People don't want to change. As a leader, you may want to, but if your stakeholders are against it, they are going to say no because they are worried less about missing out something, more about messing up things. So as an organization leader, as a function leader or a division leader, you want to ensure that a no decision doesn't mean that they don't want to do it. It is just that they're worried of messing up. So have a proper discovery discussion with them. And discovery needs to be a discussion. It can't be a lecture. So have a conversation, get all the stakeholders together, get their mind, let them know that you're open for change. Let them know that things may mess up here and there. Here is the plan that we are laying out, a 5-point plan, rolling out over, let's say, 3 months or 5 months or 6 months based on the complexity that you have. Get them on board, have a RACI in place, as Bettina, you said. Start working on it and have your cadence in place wherein information starts flowing from bottom to the top. Your leadership is aware at every point of time how things are moving. And if you have them on board, the process is going to be pretty simple. That is it. Anything else that you want to add, Bettina, as a part of the summary?
No, I think you did it perfectly. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks a lot, Bettina. I look forward to getting into more sessions with you. I'm pretty sure we'll find out more topics. We actually have several topics.
Yeah.
So for everyone who is viewing us or is going to read through this and view this recording later on, stay tuned for a few more sessions that are coming your way on different topics in the space of incentive compensation / sales compensation.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Any questions, please shoot, yeah?
Yeah, absolutely. For everyone, the contact details, both for Bettina and mine, are going to be added up towards the end of this video. Please feel free to reach out to us if you have any sort of requirement regards to incentive plan design or adopting a new solution. Thank you. Thanks, Bettina.
Thank you.